Hello everyone, I'm here to show you how to create a shotgun fire animation using C++ and Blender. And so far, here's the code. You're gonna have to create 4 sockets. You're going to need a couple of materials. You're gonna need some decals, and that's about. You're gonna need some decals and some materials for the decals, some materials for the muzzle flash, and empty shell mesh. You're going to need a physical material to apply to the wood itself that I'm firing on. Now, I'm going to start out in Blender, and from the last tutorial, you should have it around like this. And what you're going to do, just to show you from the beginning of what I did, I'm going to create shotgun fire animation, and that's going to be on the first keyframe, on the very first keyframe. I'm going to call this shotgun fire 1. I already have one in the engine, that's why I kind of deleted the keyframes here. And what you're going to do, you're going to simply go to pose mode, grab this, and you're going to grab both these objects or whichever you have for your ejector here for the hammer, and you're going to just start out with one keyframe on 0. On the second keyframe, you're going to pull the slide back. I'm trying to show you the very simple way. I'm not focusing on the trigger because you're not going to be able to see the trigger moving, or the player doesn't really see the trigger moving as the person is pulling the trigger. He doesn't really see it. You're going to pull this back, pull this slide back, and you're going to insert a keyframe. And on the second keyframe, you're going to pull this back. And apply keyframe. I'm showing you the most simplest way possible doing a fire animation. And now, if you saw the last tutorial, you should know how to export, but I'm going to do it for posterity. I'm going to show you how to export for posterity again. I'm going to do this. I'm going to export. I'll call this shotgun fire 2. Select the armature and the mesh. Go down here. I'm going to put it as like a Y forward and Z up, or X forward and Z up. I'm going to go like this. Go over here. Go where it says here. Go where it says armature. Change it to only deformed bones. And export all actions, or just, no, actually it can be all actions. It doesn't really matter because you're going to be able to tell the difference between the ones that I'm going to just export this one action. So I'm going to go shotgun fire 2. Actually, I'm going to just export all actions. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to export it. And now I'm going over to my files. Go to my desktop. It says FPS arms. Go over here. I'm going to import all. And there you go. So it's happening only in 2 frames. And what you're going to do after that, you're going to socket a particle emitter or empty shell emitter. I just call it empty shell emitter. You're going to apply a socket by right-clicking, adding a socket, and calling it empty shell, or however you want to call it. Empty shells, empty shell emitter. This is going to be for the particle system that I'll show you how to create. It's a very simple one. What you're going to do, you're going to go over to the FX, where it says FX, go where it says Niagara emitter, new emitter, just make an empty emitter, call it NE underscore shell casing. And you're going to go down here and you're going to delete this and add a new render. Call it and have a mesh renderer. So that then you can drag whatever, if you have the shotgun shell with you, you have the shell with you. I'm gonna type in shell. You have the empty shell. And then what we're going to do, you're going to initialize the spawn. I already have one. I can show you that real quick. I'll show you my own that I had created. Instead, you're gonna create spawn burst instantaneous. You're gonna have a spawn count, and you're gonna have it around like 30 seconds. And in order to shorten the time or make the time a little bit more visible, the smaller integer is a little bit more visible here. Put it like around 40 or 50. Right around here. There you go. And then what you're going to do, in order to add all this, all you have to do is press the plus sign and type in spawn burst instantaneous inside the emitter update section. In the particle spawn section, you'll need add velocity initial force. And the velocity, depending on how you have it, it'll make your what do you call it, your shell move in a different direction. Like I put at -100 on the X and put -100 on the Y and put +200. These numbers may vary. You might put it at +100 on the X and +100 on the Y. But I put it at -X, -100. Because of how my shotgun is rotated, the shell moves on the opposite direction. In the wrong direction for me. Gravity force, you'll put like -980. And it's the same thing. You add a plus sign, you type in gravity force, type in collision, because you want to actually have it collide with something. Then if it tells you to fix it here, you just press fix. And solve rotational force and velocity, you'll put it at 90. And that should be it for the particle system. It's just a spawn. It just spawns it, spawns the shell, and then it moves it in a certain direction to make it look as if it is falling out, as if it's being ejected from the shotgun itself. Also, I forgot to mention, you need to put local space and determinism. Local space because in the world space, the shotgun shell tends to rotate around. If you don't put this, put local space so it stays like how you see it here, how you see it in the editor, how you see in the what do you call it, the yes, the viewport here. Because if you change that and you go into the game, it will have the shotgun shell rotate in weird ways because the world space does not return the same location rotation as the shotgun shell. So if you put local space inside here, it will keep the same rotation location as in his viewport. But just in case you don't know, in order to create a Niagara system, you create the particles, you create the Niagara emitter, then you create the Niagara system by right-clicking on it and pressing create Niagara system. That should about be it for that. And inside of the animation itself, you want to for the shotgun shell eject system, what you want to do, you want to add a notify. Add notify. See where it says Niagara particle effect, and you want to switch it to your shell casing, your shell eject system. Then you want to change it to the bone name. Which is however you want to call it, empty shell emitter. Change it to the empty shell emitter bone name and change it to the shotgun shell eject system. I'm going to delete this because I already have one in place here. I'm just reiterating, showing you how to create it. Now here behind it is the muzzle effect system. Now in the muzzle effect system, I created a separate socket and place this muzzle flash. Created the NS muzzle flash. Muzzle effect system. Over here, let me show you. Here it is. In order to do that, in order to do the muzzle effect system, you have to have at least one material. You create a base color. Type in base color. As you can see here, what you do, it's a param. So you just type in, you just put in B or V. You type in, you press V and click and B, and call it base color. And its default value is going to be these numbers you see here. If you type in these numbers, you should get the same result as this. Then what you do, I create a particle color by typing in particle color. And I multiplied it by the text coordinate. And here you can see how to do it here. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. You create a sphere mask, and you plug that into opacity, and plug this into emissive color. And it's going to be surface additive and two-sided and unlit. And you're gonna create a constant, put it here. In order to see exactly what it is, you just press Control and Alt. You can see like the full documentation for it online. And here you have radius and hardness. It's a scalar parameter, so type in scalar parameter and name it however you want. Call it radius. Plug in here and plug in the hardness here. And here you have texture coordinates. You can see here. See, in order to find out what it is, you do Control Alt, and if it says the texture coordinate expression, you type that into the search bar. Control Alt, the constant expression, the scalar parameter. Control Alt, the scalar parameter. As you can see. And this is sphere mask. So if I type in sphere mask, there you go, you have a utility here. And that's how you create this material. Let me close all this. See, you will need 4 sockets. Also, you need one socket, fire socket, a second, a third, and a fourth. That's why I called it. You'll also need a Muzzle Flash socket. And here's the muzzle effect system. See, this is how you add emitters. You right click, and it'll give you a selection. Here, spot and burst instantaneous is 200. Initialized particle is random. The lifetime is random. So you can see here are all the settings. Add velocity on cone. See, as you can see here, look at that. And there's just a scale you can change however you want this. This is for the muzzle smoke itself. Change however you want this. Create spawn burst instantaneous. Add velocity and float. Calculate size and rotation by mass. The width and the height, the depth. And just add all this. Solve force, particle state, and color. Sprite render and a light render. You'll need both of these. And this is for the muzzle flash itself. Source mode is particle. I'm just showing you through all this so that then you're able to recreate it. The emitter properties. Here you go. The muzzle flash is in local space. So at the end the muzzle flash doesn't rotate itself. And then in order to you can make the time longer for it to go through its little animation. Its particle animation, make it really quick. And there you go. That should be about it right there for your muzzle flash. And now you're gonna need surface types just to set you up. Type in surface types. Type where it says wood. Type in surface type 1, call this wood. And what you're going to do, you're going to apply a wood material, any type of wood material to this mesh. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go, and you're gonna set visibility to block. You're gonna set this to custom. You're gonna allow it to simulate generated hit events. We do go over here, change this to wood physical material. You create a physical material and you change it to it. You change the surface type to wood. If you've seen my last tutorial, you should know how to create surface types. But if you haven't, I'll reiterate again. Let me see here. Let me go to the shotgun itself. You're going to create, in order to create a physical material, go where it says physics, physical material, create physical material. Go over here, call it wood. I'm going to call it wood 2. Go over here, and the surface type you have created, it should show up here. And what this physical material allows you to do, allows you to specify what material does what. Like I'm spotting a decal if I take over here, a wood decal, and now I'm going to do what I'm going to do. You're going to need your own decals. I forgot to mention you're going to need your own decals, and if you can make your own Niagara emitters, that's good. But if you have your own, that'd be good too. And the character, I rotated the arms to get a position right about here. So the gun is very close. As you can see, look, the gun is very close. The arms are right in the camera. And now the shotgun has its own fire animation. I used the explosion cue as the sound cue. And I have a material that is dealing damage that deals the damage to the wood. That's the material I'm using. And what I'm going to do, I'm going into the character itself. I'm going to show you the code itself. What I'm going to do, let's see here. You're going to need a U material class of U material instance. Call it wood damage if you want. There's the class. You're going to need just one other function called shotgun recoil. I'll show you how to do a little simple way of creating recoil without getting too deep into animations. You just go over here and add controller pitch input to negative 0.04. That's a very, very simple way of creating a simulating recoil. And you call inside the function as well. And then what I did, I created 4 sockets. All with their own line traces associated with them. Get the socket location. Here's this response params, query params. For you to return a physical material, you have to set this to true. I created debug just for one of the line traces to check to see if it worked. Here I'm checking to see if for the actor itself, for any actor in the world, which is just a simple way of allowing me to designate just specifically the material itself. Once I apply the surface type and the physical material to the material itself, and I did a switch case to like a multi-line trace by channel. Here's a for loop, looping through the results, looping through the hits to find the result. This allows you to get the physical material and then get its particular surface type, and then use the case in order to designate what decal you want to spawn on which. You can go down, further down like this. Case, surface. You see all these surface types? Surface type 2. And you go down here. You do break. Copy pastes. And then change it. Change the material, change the decal you would like to spawn. I created another line trace and another. Here's another. Right now I'm just playing the fire animation. Also, I forgot to mention, you're going to need a UANIM sequence. UANIM sequence because you'll be able to adjust the speed of the animation. Instead of UANIM asset, you can't adjust the rate scale of the animation by doing this. Here's another little tidbit of information. Where it says rate scale, you can change it to 0 to make it even faster, just in case you ever need to do that. If you have any outside things affecting your animation, and what that will do, that'll speed up the animation or slow it down depending on how you want it. All I have is one function. I'm firing from. This is going to be a multi-part series. This is not the last part. The fire sound is just explosion. It's just an explosion sound. You can do whatever you want to the actor. You can add health to the actor and deduct points, and until when those points are deducted fully, you destroy the actor by casting to the actor itself. I'm just scrolling through the code to show you. Okay, there you go. You're gonna need the fire animation. You're gonna need a U material instance, and you're gonna need a extra shotgun recoil. I'd rather make these public, just in case I ever need to grab it from another actor itself. I'd rather make public voids and public variables. And also, not to leave you out of here yet. Once you apply the particle system to the gun itself, the emitter itself, you probably may or may not encounter some problems with the rotation of the shell itself. So what you'll want to do, you want to rotate the socket itself however many degrees you want it to get how you want it. Like I have it veering off to the back over here. So what I can do, I can push this a little bit more forward, I think. Oh no. That can be affected inside the particle emitter itself. And inside the particle system itself. With its velocity. And then let me go into the particle system itself. And over here, I believe that may be adding velocity. To have it veer off over to the, that allows it to hop up. Let me see here. And now that's how you get it. You have a 0 on the Y, so it comes, so the shell comes straight out. If you affect the Y, it will go diagonally. When you mix the X and the Y axes, it will make a diagonal line. As you can see, look, plus 200, negative 200, just 0. There you go. And now is not, let me see if I can get closer to show you. To negative 200. I'm just gonna place it back at 0 so then I can add even more hop up. So if I want, or add even less hop up. I think that's about perfect right there. As you can see, the collision that you set up for the particle itself, it hits the floor. It's just you can't see it because you're not looking. As you can see, like, if you rotate the socket itself, I'm going to show you something else. Not rotate it, but if you place the socket in different locations, I place the sockets all in different locations so that then the line traces would have a like kind of a spread. You can add as many as you want, add as many sockets as you want to this one to the muzzle itself. The rotation for your particle emitter may be different depending on how you created your emitter. You can make improvements or to it, and you can improve the rotation. And there you go. That's how you do it. Also, to change the material, you go over here, go to where it says wood oak, scroll through all your materials, scroll down. I'm using M wood oak, as you can see here. I just simulate the physics. I can just remove the simulate physics to have it sit in air. That's how you create the shotgun fire animation. You just mess with the gun. But if you want to, you could add add animations to your arms to simulate recoil. Like you make your arms move in a certain way that simulates recoil, so that then the gun moves back every time you fire. Or you could just use the controller pitch. As I did here. Very simple way of doing that. Now, to reiterate, you just move the slide back and forth. The reason why I'm not focusing on the trigger is because usually, I notice in games you don't normally see the player himself pull the trigger. You don't usually see that. Like it's all chaotic, and as you're playing the game, you don't see the player just pulling a trigger, and your thumb is usually blinding your vision of the trigger itself, and all you see is the slide moving back and forth. And that's why I use the slide only. If you want, you could add simulate recoil using the arms, but I'm not going to do that for this tutorial. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This will be it. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Stay safe. Um, Stay safe out there with everything that's happening. Okay, have a good one.